All right, we're starting FFT. The winner of the vote was Team B, so we will be playing with a team of a time mage and a samurai, a dancer and a knight, and a priest and an oracle. Will be our three classes. The game is normally traditionally played using the 5 units the game allows you. We will only allow ourselves 3. I am allowed to use whatever glitches I want because I like using glitches. I will use fast forward at times because this is on an emulator. That just makes this pleasanter to record and will also allow us to do some tricks I like. Alright, but we'll be enjoying the story too. I am Alislam, a scholar of ancient Ivalis history. This is one of those rare stories with a kind of framing device of you are being told the events by a scholar in the future. I really like the story of FFTactics. Have you ever heard of the Lion War? But as I think is often the case with this kind of framing device, it doesn't really add much, right? Al Islam's viewpoint does not add much. We don't see it often. So I think they could have told the story more straightforwardly and not lost anything. It divided Avalis in two over who would be the successor to the throne. It ended with the appearance of a young hero named Delita. Everybody living here knows this hero's tale. But we also know that what we see with our eyes alone isn't necessarily the truth. Man, this is weirder to read aloud than read, because if you catch up to where the text is, you lose the cadence of the line because you have to pause at all the wrong points. That's curious. I hadn't thought about, like, slow unfolding dialogue. This is an important part of the story, though. The notion that who history or who our culture is going to take as heroes is not necessarily what happened. Here's a young man. He is the youngest son of the noble Beolve, pillars, Bolve, I'll probably go Bolve, pillars of knighthood. There's no record of his playing an active part in history, but we'll use some fast forward here. According to the DeRay report released last year, concealed for many years by the church, a hint that the church might be antagonists. This unknown man is the true hero. The church claims he was a blasphemer and anarchist, the root of all evil. But is this the truth? Won't you join me on a journey for the truth? Before that, please tell me your name and birthday. So, our main character is going to be a teleporting samurai, a time mage samurai. So, I often name that Timurai when I want to remind myself what the classes are supposed to be. Sam mage? No. How can we combine time and samurai? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to Google time samurai. And whatever comes up, we will run with that name. No, that's the age of the samurai. Samurai Jack battle through time. Mm. Mm. Alright, we're gonna Google Samurai of Time. You'd think there'd be some kind of like manga or anime thing that had made like a time traveling samurai. Yeah, let's Google time traveling samurai. It's a great way to start a series. No. Not getting much. Samurai historical romance. Eh. Alright, Timurai it is. So our name is gonna be Timurai. We combine teleporting samurai. What if I Google teleporting samurai? I'm sure there must be so many, like, how could you not have teleporting samurai throughout? The most anime-ass teleport swordsman. Shukuchi. In modern Japanese martial arts, shukuchi refers to a sudden movement into an enemy's space or blind spot to attack. I like that. Alright. That is going to be the name of our Ramza, who I will mostly call Ramza. But, oops, no, that's not it. But I'd like, it's nice to have the run have some uniqueness to it. Now, depending on what you want in the game, different birthdays can be good. This game has zodiac effects, where depending on what your zodiac is and their zodiac is, you either both do more damage to each other or both do less damage to each other. This generally means you want you and your teammates to be stuff that does more damage to each other, because that will also mean you heal each other for more, and you hit when you need to use things on each other, you will hit more reliably. Um, yeah, January 1st is a very good birthday if you want high damage against various bosses. And I usually do. My actual birthday lands on Pisces, which is a very good birthday if you want really low damage against bosses, but also low damage received from bosses. Now, we need to be able to clear things quickly, and we're going to be going for, and this is usually what's done for challenge runs. We're going to be going for January 1st. May 1st is also a good date. Taurus is a good birthday. You usually want, I think it's Aquarius or Taurus. All right, Square presents. This is from the golden age of Square. This challenge run, a few things. I said it last time, but in case you're coming in on this one and didn't watch the draft video, I will be trying to stay very low level. So I will be save stating to avoid random encounters, but never in battle. I will also be keeping track of what level I end each chapter and how many resets I have each chapter, how many times I lose a fight and have to restart. And my score will be dependent on those, and I will try to keep them low. Because we want to keep our level low, we will be doing no side quests at all, and probably no random battles. In general, if you're having trouble, it is good to grind to the levels 18, 35, or 52, because basically those are the levels where you get a boost to speed, and speed is the single best stat in the game. So anytime you're having trouble on a fight, there are ones that traditionally people find very difficult. The final sequence has a few tough fights, specifically what's known as Bach 2, and there's famous battles at Riavane's Battle, and grinding to 35 for Riavane's or 52 for the final sequence can be really useful and make you avoid resets. If you think you are going to grind, it is best to grind at the start of a chapter because your score is dependent on the score at the end of the chapter, and you may as well be higher leveled throughout the chapter rather than take some resets early in the chapter, underleveled, and then grind later only for the last part. On the other hand, if you don't think you're going to reset, you never want to grind, and you'll only grind once you hit the point of difficulty. We're going to try to do no grinding at all. This is basically going to be a rush through the story missions of the game, using just our 3 characters, along with guest characters. Guest characters will do work. Our guest characters are very important and useful. As I said, we are free to use any glitches that, catch our attention. Specifically, the JP scroll glitch will be abused. Apologies if you think that's not fair game. It does change a little of the feel of the game because it gives you access to, I'll explain what it is later, but it gives you access to abilities that would normally take a while to earn. So you have a little less of the feeling of kind of progressing your character, and more of the character progression is going to be based on getting new equipment rather than new abilities, because we will unlock most of our abilities relatively early. Except not for the samurai. And of course, we'll get into why samurai is so good. This is actually a team that's going to have a pretty clunky first chapter. I didn't really think about it, but actually we have not very much damage output early in the game. Interesting. Probably going to be a bad score in the first chapter. So our team is Time Mage Samurai. Samurai is an incredible class in the mid-late game, but does not have access to any of its abilities in the early game. God, please help us sinful children of Avalis. Or Evilise. Princess Avelia, let's go. Just a moment, Agrias. Or Agrias. I'm going to go Agrias. The guards have already arrived. Princess, Don't give Agrias trouble. Please hurry. Agrias, Agrias. Now I want to say Agrias. What's going on? It's been nearly an hour. Don't be rude to the princess, Gafgarian. Everyone kneels. This going to be all right, Agrias, Agrias. No, Agrias is right to me. This is an urgent issue for us. So there are rude knaves even among the Hokutin. The Hokutin are one of the two main armies that will be fighting in the war that was talked about in the intro. I'm being more than kind to the guard captains here. Besides, we're mercenaries hired by the Hokutin. I'm not obliged to show respect to you. What? How dare you? Enough. Let's go. This is weird. It's actually, the first chapter of the game might be the hardest chapter for this team. I'm just thinking about it, and it's going to be quite clumsy here. Go with God. You too, Simon. Now, luckily, the first chapter, you reliably have guests, and if you play it properly, the guests should be able to solo the chapter for you. But that means I'm going to need to be very careful about my handling of the guests. Some teams, you don't need to worry about them, you just sweep chapter 1 really easily. Essentially, if you have a wizard or a summoner, chapter 1's a breeze. But this team does not have it, and it does not have kind of generic other fighty classes. Samurai has no damage chapter 1, Time Mage is quite weak at chapter 1, Priest and Oracle is low output chapter 1. Building up stick oracles to do huge damage is hilarious and very viable, but not available chapter 1, and we don't quite have the right build. So we're really going to need our dancer to do work. Princess Goltana's men. Alright. What one must do to make money. What, Shikuchi? You have a problem too. I'm no longer a knight, just a mercenary like you. That's right. Well done, let's go. So this is kind of a flash forward that doesn't mean much, but the game is using it as an intro to the battle. Oh god, the battle system. So I never really pay attention to it, because after this point, the story will be told linearly, and this is actually not a very important moment in the story. They just wanted to give you an intro battle to get used to mechanics and have it be low risk. The crest of the Black Lion. What's wrong with Prince Goltana? He's such an idiot. Does he want to start a war? So this is before the war has begun. Knave, there's no point in resisting. Just give us the princess, or that beautiful face of yours will be scarred forever. Fool, only idiots attack head-on. Leave this to us. We can't make money that way. Rad, Shikuchi, follow me. What a good name, Rad. I would enjoy going through life with my name as Rad. Probably wasn't like a common thing people said when this game was made. It's probably, a decade and a half later or a decade later that became a common thing to call things, but kill them all. Don't leave any survivors. Nonsense. There's no need to kill them. That's just what Goltana wants us to do. Just let them go. They didn't seem like they wanted to just go. That's impossible. Anyway, FFTactics is a grid-based system. You can move a certain number of squares, and then you have a number of abilities you can use. I think it's pretty straightforwardly intuitive, so I'm not going to talk about really basic stuff on it, because this battle, it's kind of, you can see the things that happen. We only get control of Ramza. You can see his movement range. I can also rotate the camera like this. We cannot reach an enemy. He also has a set of abilities. Accumulate is an ability that ups your physical attack for the rest of the battle. Now, let's look at some stats. If you see the weapon symbol, actually, I can go to it, I think. One sec. This symbol here. Nope. The symbol right below AT. There's a weapon down left of it. And then the number 07. That means he has 7 power. His weapon inherently gives him, so weapon power over here, you can see his weapon has 7 power. He physically has 6 power, but we just upped it by 1 to 7. Given this, his damage is going to be weapon power times his attack. So he should do 49 per hit, except that doesn't adjust for zodiac effects. His zodiac is Capricorn, not Aquarius, my bad. And you can see he will do more damage to Taurus and Virgo. He will do less damage to Aries and Libra, he will do the best damage to a Cancer of the opposite sex and the least damage to a Cancer of the same sex. And he will do neutral damage to others, but his default damage is now 49. This is not particularly important for now. Also, when you end a turn, you can choose what direction you face. You will have better dodge rates facing the direction if an attack comes in the direction you're facing. So, you generally want to face towards where you think attack will come from, and you generally want to get behind or to the side of enemies to make it more likely to hit them. Some units have more protection, generally knights. This is a knight unit, will have more protection based on if you attack them head on. And so those units, it becomes particularly important to attack them from angles. Now, many things we will be doing throughout the game will kind of bypass, in some sense, the core mechanics, right? When we get Samurai rolling, like, Samurai doesn't depend on any of this stuff. Samurai will hit them full accuracy from any angle, it doesn't matter. So, he's casting a spell. Spells have wait time, but his spell's going off before anyone else. Fire does less damage when cast in rain, while Bolt does more. There's various weather effects. Also, some unit types, usually monsters, are stronger or weaker against different elements. We won't be fighting many monsters because monsters are mostly fought in random battles. Night Sword, by the way, is a great ability because he heals the amount of damage he deals, which is pretty powerful. So we should be doing, on average 7 times 7, right? If we look at our stats again, 7 and 7. But here it's doing slightly less, so presumably their Zodiac is one of the ones we're bad against. Let's check it. We won't be doing this very often. I just want to show a few of the mechanics of the game. Aries. And if you look at this, Aries is bad with Capricorn. We're Capricorn, so it does slightly less damage than the 49 you'd expect. But you can see how if you can cast Accumulate multiple times in a fight, it's really going to up your total damage output, right? If we had cast it 3 more times, instead of base like expected 49, we'd be doing 70 per hit, right? And so ways to up your own stats if you can delay engaging in combat for a while are a pretty powerful effect. Not going to be very important for this team, but I really like how many things can be important depending on how you play this game. Agrias and Gafgarian are both quite powerful units because they have ranged moves that do basically full power attacks and can sometimes do other things. Gafgarians can heal him, the amount of damage he deals. You'll also see some people are doing charge attacks. Those go off at some delay. Early in the game, basically everyone's speed is so slow that delayed attacks mostly hit. Later in the game, long delay on attacks becomes really costly. This is part of the reason that Wizard is a phenomenal early game class, but not an incredible late game class, because a lot of the time the enemy units become fast enough, you don't have time to get off your more powerful moves. And so you have to settle for weaker moves, and Wizard becomes less dominant accordingly. Alright, we're going to put on fast forward here, because this is not a particularly interesting fight. We will turn it off for scenes and other things. But it's a quick way to get through stuff. This episode will be taking us through some of the story battles, and then at the end of the story battles, I will have to do some grinding. And I'm going to do that off recording, because we're going to have to get the classes that we were using for this challenge, and it's really boring to just fight monsters. Oh, oops. I'm skipping lines. What an idiot. I said I'd stop. What an annoying princess. She said, get off of me. What I like about this scene is at the start of the fight, and you may have forgotten, Gafgarian says only an idiot would attack head-on. And there was a head-on attack, but it was cover to sneak in on the back. And I like when someone says something like that and it pays off that way. And it's also in a way like no one in this scene is going to go, oh, you idiot, Gafgarian, they were attacking from behind, right? It's not going to draw our attention to it. It's assuming we are smart enough to be aware of what was said and see what comes of it. What an annoying princess. This is also a line that I think will pay off down the road. Many of the things said earlier are relevant to what comes late. Wait, tough. Don't blame us. Blame yourself for God. And here in Future Land, because we are not here yet, oh God, we have lost the princess. Woe is us. Delita? You're alive, Delita, but why are you in Gultana's troops? Why? That is our little teaser. So it sure seems like Delita has switched sides at some point, that he was at some point connected to our main character, Ramza or Shikuchi, depending on what you want to call it. And yeah, Princess is captured. Delita's name appears for the first time a year before the Lion War broke out. We're fast forwarding, so this is very slow scroll. Many soldiers who returned from the war had no jobs. Oh, the scroll is so slow even on fast forward. Little money, and even less loyalty to the crown. Many became thieves and rebels plotting rebellion against the royal family. Rebels plotting rebellion. Maybe not the prettiest of writing here in translation. At that time, robbery and murder were commonplace in Evalis. Many heroes and wizards came out of there. And Geralt was no exception either. Yeah, quite clumsy writing here. I think The Lion's War, which was the remake for PS1, fixes a lot of this, but the point is not going to be the writing, it's going to be the story being told. Chapter 1, The Meager. Military Academy's Auditorium. I heard another wagon bound for Egros was attacked. Must have been the Death Corps. Whenever you want sympathy, you gotta name yourself something like the Death Corps, right? Something that everyone's gonna want to join on. That's clearly the good guys. Something's starting. Know anything, Delita? No, but I can guess. What do you mean? Prince Larg's coming to town. Prince Larg? Why? Not only Larg, but Marquis Elmdor of Limberry, too. That's news. It's not an official visit, is it? There are danger zones everywhere in Ivalis. The Hokutin Knights are in full operation, but suffering from a shortage of men. Man, Delita is so much smarter than we are. So, they need us cadets. We're so much more aware. Everyone, fall in. You have a mission. As you know, barbarians are rapidly increasing here in Gallione. The traitorous Death Corps detest the royal family. We cannot overlook them. We will begin exterminating these traitors by order of our master. On the other hand, another sign that someone's not, not great is when they start talking about exterminating other humans. Never a great sign there. Large knights stationed at Egros Castle and many other groups will participate. Your duty is to support the flank. Specifically, you'll go to Egros and help guard it. Cadets, ready your swords. A gang of tortured thieves is trying to sneak into this town. We'll begin preparations now to keep them out of town. Come with me. This is the front line of operations. That's all. Prepare immediately. All right. We get our second battle. I'll be save stating rather than saving here, but we will officially save at some point. And we get our first battle where we get to choose our team. Now, in general, we should try to minimize experience here. We need Ramza. Ramza is going to be a Time Mage and a Samurai. Now, how do we unlock Time Mage and Samurai? I should check that. I have a chart somewhere here. Where's my pretty chart? There's my class unlock chart. Okay. So I've got to figure out which classes I need for each character. So I get that and no more because I don't want to level up excessively. And this early part of the game, because we're doing this draft challenge, is going to be heavily focused on trying to minimize how much we level. Okay. So our team is Time Mage, Samurai, Dancer, Knight, Priest, Oracle. So Ramza is a Time Mage Samurai. To get Time Mage, we are going to need 2 levels of Chemist plus 2 levels of Wizard. That's very easy to get. To get Samurai, we need Samurai is 3 Knight, 4 Monk, 2 Lancer. And to get to Lancer, to get to Knight, we need 2 level. Knight brings us to Monk, and Squire brings us to Knight. So we're going to need 2 Squire to get to Knight. Okay? And to get to Lancer, we're going to need 2 Archer, 3 Thief. Okay. So that's Ramsay. Let's look at what other units we have. See if any will make the team. We're going to need 2 women. Dancer can only be women, and Priest and Oracle will have better magic stats if female, so we don't care about men. Men will not be making the team. 64 Brave is pretty good, but we want it to have good Zodiac compatibility. We'll have to farm for this. It'll be really boring. I won't do that on camera, don't worry. Okay. None of these are characters we're going to use in the long run. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring 2 chemists because we want, because when they gain points in their job, everyone else on the team also gains some. So we can level up Ramza as a chemist without him actually ever becoming a chemist, or at least we have a chance to. And so what we're going to basically try to do is have Ramza do not very much, and if our other characters do all the work, he will get some of the experience from them doing the work. Now, we also want our guest in this fight to do a lot, because we're going to need him for later fights. So I don't have, like, this particularly mapped out, like, I don't have, like, you know, perfect game plan. I'm just saying, here's what we're trying to do in this fight. What's this? Just a bunch of kids. What luck. Okay, all we have to do is kill these kids. Then we can escape. Don't you worry, we'll kill every one of you. By the way, you don't have to maximize this at all to do this challenge well. I just like going for, you know, some of my better scores. And if you stay lower level, you will score a little higher. So Delita's going to run forward here. He always does, and then he will always shout at you during the fight, don't charge them, which is always silly after he charges them. He used a move called Defend, which I don't actually remember what it does. It might, like, slightly increase your dodge rate or something. There is not actually, like, a defensive stat. You just have your life total and evasion stats. There is no defense that affects how hard the hits you take are, which is a sort of interesting choice and something very different than most other games of this type. Throwstone usually, about a decent chunk of the time, will do half the stated damage, so it said it would do 6 damage 100% of the time. Fair amount of the time it'll do 3, as I recall. Shikuchi, watch out, don't rush them. Don't patronize me, Delita. I'm also a Bulve. Bulve? The Bulve family? So you must be cadets from the military academy, snot-nosed little nobles. Silence, surrender, or die in obscurity. What can a bunch of kids like you do? A bunch of spoiled punks like you'll never beat us. Like, you will never beat us. Alright, we may as well attack with Ramsay here, though. Like, we're not gonna, you know, perfectly map this out. And he does good damage. Also, we're only attacking a level 1 unit, and how much experience you get is dependent on the level of the unit you're attacking. I think none of our other troops will be able to reach allies, but potentially we have access to, like, accumulate or something. You can use items. We have 5 potions. We could heal Delita here, and we may as well. This does 2 things. One is our chemist gets some experience. 2 is we make sure Delita stays kind of full on health, because he's going to be useful here. And we want him to be gaining experience and JP. So we need him to not go down in this fight. Not that this fight's very hard. This fight is annoying if you're doing a solo character challenge of just Ramza. This fight is kind of horrendous to do just Ramza. But that's okay. Also, if you do this fight kind of optimally, you can get it down to the chemist as the last unit left. And if their chemist is their last unit left, you can kind of surround them and just beat on them for a while and level a bunch. And that's a pleasant thing to do. So I'm getting behind this unit to make sure our attack hits. You'll notice he's doing somewhat less damage. And we'll try to get this unit low. Didn't have a way to attack head on. Sadly, our chemists do a bit lower damage than our squires. They have lower attack. The leader usually hits here and then runs away, which is annoying because then sometimes he misses some attacks next turn. Well, if he stayed farther forward, he would more reliably get to attack on future turns. But it looks like he'll have a guy in the corner to go hit. Enemies that are low on life tend to just run to the corner. But if all enemies remaining are low on life, then they will emerge. Okay, let's hit this guy. We'll leave the chemist alone for now. I'll try to end the fight by surrounding the chemist, but kind of unlikely. We could finish off this guy, but I'd rather let the Lita get the kill there. So we don't really have anyone to hit. Sometimes you want to just hit your own units for the experience, but here we'll just wait. Waiting also decreases the amount of time before you get your next turn. Alright, we'll have to heal her at some point. She should go before anyone can approach her. Ramza is getting a bit low. Yeah, so their chemist has, I believe, basically infinite potions, and so it can be worth charging the chemist. But I am going to try to get a surround of them at the end of this fight, so we will not be doing that. 8 damage, pathetic. But I guess there's not much else to do. So let's hit for 8. And I think we'll stick here. The Lito will go kill the one over here. Maybe we'll get the chemist to heal himself. Oh, 95% is not 100%. We should probably heal Ramza. Let's not move, though, because if we don't move, our next turn comes faster. This fight's actually going really badly as this fight can go. I think I'm making poor decisions, but we have to heal here, which means we only have 2 potions left. So it's actually going pretty clumsily. Back off. Hopefully Delita can knock out this guy and then come over and be useful, because Delita's pretty high power. As you can see from him doing 24 rather than like 16, you can see that unit is just running away for now. We'll finish her off later, but there's no rush. And I'm going to keep attacking with Ramza, not be all that stingy about experience. Though I think we do not want... Ooh, they got a critical. That's going to be another potion down the drain. We do not want Ramza to get a lot of experience here, but that's okay. Not the end of the world if he does. Now their chemist will go heal that squire at some point soon. This only does 8, as we found out last time. Terrible. Right. So, what's the turn order? We can go to this menu and see the next unit is the chemist, and then that unit. So the chemist will get a heal in soon. Alright, let's just get closer to the action, not much to do. The chemist will likely go heal their ally. I wish our attack against the chemist had hit. Alright, they're going to run to the corner, or closer to it. And I guess we have to keep going for the chemist. You can attack from depth 1 water, but not depth 2 water. Alright, you're at 9 health, so you're going to have to use our second to last potion. Yeah, we can't survive another hit. When a unit has been dead for 3 turns, they drop something. Could be a treasure chest, could be a crystal. I'm going to go here and see what the damage is on both enemy units here. 20 would kill. Do we want to just end the fight? We check Ramza's status. We want him to get to level 2 Squire, which he has, and level 2 Chemist, which he'll get soon. Yeah, let's do the safer decision here. Let's get rid of their Chemist. It does get Ramza a bunch of experience, but, you know, I'm not actually. This isn't going well enough that I feel good about trying to maximize. All right, that'll bring them in range of Delita. So that's good. And we should also make sure that Delita has leveled up Squire. We want him to have access to Knight as quickly as possible. Because some of our strategy for this chapter is just going to be, he's a really good Knight. Slowly whittling this guy down 8 damage at a time. I think we won't attack anymore if we can avoid it with Ramza the rest of the fight, because we should be able to avoid it, and it is suboptimal. Right? We're just trying to get other characters to spill over experience to him. Not a super interesting fight, but yeah, I'm going to run away with Ramza. And have the others do. We will attack from behind. Oops, that's my unit I just got behind. God, what an idiot. Alright. Won't be attacking that turn. What a waste. Or healing. I should have checked if we needed to use our last potion. Luckily we didn't, but it's close. Alright, that was very foolish. Sometimes they randomly no accumulate, and if so, that's a useful thing to do, but here he didn't. I'm gonna stay here so I can. That won't be anything useful. Let's get closer. So if our chemist goes down based on some weird critical or something, um, we'll be able to be close to the enemy. So if an enemy drops a crystal, so I was thinking if we miss here 5% of the time, then they'll kill us on the hit back, but pretty low odds. So that crystal that dropped, if you run onto a crystal, you can either learn a move that the enemy unit knew, or I'm actually gonna run here for a quite good reason. We're gonna start hitting ourselves. The fight's gonna end when Delita goes and hits the other unit, but that 12 GP is 1 GP for Ramza or JP, and 1 JP for Delita, and so this is free experience for us essentially. And it's not even leveling Ramza up, and again, we want to be low level. And now Delita will probably finish the fight. And he job leveled up, which is nice. You need to level up your jobs. We're currently all squires or chemists, which is why I gotta stop skipping through dialogue. Sorry, I'm so used to doing challenge runs and just skipping through dialogue. Ramsey, you wouldn't have died this way if you'd led an honest life. He regrets what happened here. Man, I was all excited. I'm going to pause for a sec. One sec. I was all excited to show the story of this game, and then as soon as I get into doing my stupid challenge run, I just forget that the story exists. So far, we've learned we're a noble. We're in a time of unrest, and I don't think there's too much else that's that important. All right, they're showing us how the world map moves. We move to locations. Any location that is red has a battle on it. Almost always. It at least has a way to continue the story. So let's look at Ramza. We did not level him up as a chemist, but we can give him item now. And here is where I'll show the JP scroll glitch. So if you go to something you can learn, hold the square button. Oops, not that way. Hold the square, no, stop. Square button and press down. Square button, go to confirm, square button, press down. It will go to something you can't learn. You press yes, your JP will often go to either 0 or 9,999. If you leave, it's going to be 9,999 either way, and you have access to all the abilities. Now, Ramza is not allowed to learn chemist abilities, but Delita is, because Delita can do whatever he wants. So we're going to go to eye drops here. We're going to scroll down, and it goes to 0, and this is perfect. He can now learn Auto Potion, which means every time he's hit, he will automatically use a potion, which is going to hopefully make him kind of close to invincible. And is there anything else we want him to have here? Probably nothing matters. Squire, he can't learn anything new. And we'll be changing his job shortly. Just got to figure a few things out. What else do we need? You are trying to get Time Mage. So you need 2 Squire, 3 Knight, 4 Monk, 2 Lancer. Now, we are allowed to do anything at this point in the game. So I am allowed to give him chemist stuff because until Dorter happens, we haven't started the challenge officially. However, we're going to buy a whole bunch of potions because we don't have many, and that will make everything much safer. We still have 2 Phoenix Downs. We come with a Holy Water that sells for 1,000. The other stuff is also we should sell because we don't have access to an item user, a chemist, so we're never going to actually be using these items, and we may as well get the money for them. But usually you just want to steal. We'll leave the high potions in case Auto Potion uses them. We can check this. So that gets a little additional funds. All right. What else do we need to do? We need to recruit. And this is really boring, but basically what you do is you go, you look at the soldier, and you see, do they have high enough brave? Do we need high brave, actually? Dancer, Knight, Weapon Guard is not dependent on brave. Priest, Oracle, like gets auto regen as the reaction. They don't actually need high brave. So what we're going to be looking for here is I want high faith on the priest, and I don't care about brave or faith that much on the other unit. But I do need them to be good compatibility with Ramza, which means I need 1 to be Taurus and 1 to be, I forget what it's called. That's Taurus, 5743. I'd probably like higher faith than that, so we'll try a little harder. But this just takes a while looking for this. A little bit of a pain. I have a save set up that checks it for you. Yeah, we don't want Scorpio. We want the thing that looks like M but a little different. There's 2 of these that look like M. All right, that's another Taurus. That's pretty good. We're going to recruit this. And this is going to be our Priest Oracle, our Proracle. All right, let's Google Priest Oracle, see if this time it comes up with anything. Priest Oracle. Pythia, the High Priestess of the Temple of Apollo. Sure. Pythia it is. My controls aren't working. No, that's not okay. P Y T H I A. Perfect. All right, Pythia. That's 1,400 gil. We're good. And we need 1 more unit. We want them to be good compatibility with both. So now we need them to be the other M symbol. I think it's Virgo. No, that's another Taurus. And it's a lot of this, and I was planning to do this off, but we already got 1 so quickly, and we don't have particularly high requirements today. So there we go. Low Brave is fine. High Faith is nice, I think, here. Yep, this will be our Dancing Knight. And let's Google Dancing Knight, see what we get. No, not Dancing Knight GIF. It auto-filled for me. That's rude. There's a lot of memes. That's not interesting. To me, at least. Dancing Knight, not chess. Who dances in the FF universe that we want to celebrate? do. Gao. No, those are rages, not dances. Uh, Yuna. Seems weird to have Yuna as a knight. Hmm. I'm having trouble thinking of someone. It's a good name for a dancing knight. This is very important, so we should take our time on this. I feel like there must be an RPG character that fits this well. There must be. But because I'm pretty sure Piggyman will be watching this, and because she's going to be great and he loves her, we'll just go with Yuna. She dances and she's in FFs. And we will name our dancing knight Yuna. And we have our team. That's perfect. So now let's. So our goal now. Okay. It always takes me a little while to figure out how I want to set things up. So let's figure out what class unlocks we need. So we have a Priest Oracle. Priest Oracle is really easy. They just got to go Chemist, then Priest, then Oracle. So Pythia, we're going to change your job to Chemist, and you just got to level up as a Chemist once, and then you can be a Priest, and then you got to level up once there, and you can be an Oracle. And it's going to take you 4 JP. So your first 200 JP gets you your next job. So this is going to be gotten immediately. All right, that's great. Now, Yuna is going to take a lot more work. Yuna needs to get to Dancer. Knight is easy. 2 Squire. She's going to get 2 Squire just from other Squires running around. Dancer. Dancer needs 4 Lancer plus 4 Geomancer equals Dancer. Now to get 4 Lancer, we need 2 Archer, 3 Thief. And to get 4 Geomancer, we need 2 Knight, 3 Monk. So we're going to need a bunch there. All right, that's okay. Let's put item here just so they have it. And you two aren't going to have to do too much here. Sorry, just thinking. We're going to bring one other unit into battle. It may as well be level 2, a little more powerful. And you're going to stay a Squire for now, so you'll spill over the Squire JP needed. So let's bring Goodman. Goodman will be our chemist who comes with us. In that case, we can give Goodman whatever we want. So first of all, we're going to JP scroll glitch him as a wizard. Ooh, sometimes it goes weird. There we go. And with that, he can learn, say, Bolt, Bolt 2, Bolt 3, Bolt 4, Magic Attack up, and he will have us covered. We'll also JP scroll him as a chemist. We'll go eye drop to remedy. Yep, that worked. And now he can learn he has potion. He needs Phoenix down just in case. Auto potion. And now we can put on auto potion and black magic. Actually, we should let's keep him as a chemist for now, just because we need a little spillover of JP on chemist, because we're gonna need Pythia is gonna level up to level 2 almost immediately. What about Yuna? Yuna doesn't need chemist, so we just need a tiny bit more chemist, and he'll bring us that. And Ramza, should you be changing jobs? You've got 2 Squire, you should be changing jobs. We need 3 Knight, 4 Monk. You're going to get the 2 Chemist on your own. We'll probably get the 2 Wizard shortly, so you should be working on Knight. Okay. This start of the game is kind of silly, and I just want to do the forced battles and then not the rest of the grinding. But you're getting a little sense of the kind of grinding we do to do this challenge. It's a little dumb. I have a save ready to go with all characters level 6 and with access to all classes. But then we couldn't choose the names of the characters, which may or may not be important. But also, I think I can get there lower than level 6, and I want to try, especially because I think this is going to be a tough chapter 1 for us. And the harder a chapter is, the more you level up. because the more hits it takes you to kill each enemy, and you gain experience every time you hit them, not every time you defeat them. How long have we been going? 50 minutes, man. It's gonna be a slow series at the start. Once we get into the gameplay, I think it'll be really fun and like much quicker and smoother, and everything will seem like comfortable and like the battles are interesting and not a slog. But the start of the challenge like this, setting it up, is really a slog. And I will do most of it off camera, but I want to do the story battles on. Having attained the highest rank of Heavenly Knight, brave Balbanes was facing his last days. So this is actually another flashback. The game makes a ton of weird temporal decisions at the start. First, it sets up this framing device. Then it has a flash forward to characters in an event we're not invested in yet. Then it has a flash backward. I think in general, when telling a story, you shouldn't move the player to a new setting, or like the reader or the watcher to a new setting, until you know they are invested in the setting you're already on and will be excited to return to it. And here we're hopping around much too frequently, and I think the start of FFT often loses people. Again, I think it's a really good story, and I don't mean to start negatively, but I do think the start makes kind of a straightforward storytelling mistake, which is it's not getting us invested in where we are. It's hopping us to too many different things. It's trying to get too many things set up before we're happy and invested in the core thing happening. That's it. How goes the battle? Through swift action, we were able to recover Limberry. This is from the last war. It's only a matter of time before Ordelia army leaves Zeltenia. Don't worry. The secret messenger sent to Count Lenario has returned. Count Lenario has agreed to your plan. Good. Then at last, this long war will finally come to an end. Father, don't cry, my daughter. And indeed, this long war did come to an end. Where's Shikuchi, just when we need him most? Daisadar, Zalbak, my beloved sons. Great names, by the way. Take care of Shikuchi. He may be your half-brother, but he is my own flesh. Father, lower your voice. I'm glad you came. Let me look at you. Father, it has been a long time. You've become a fine man. You start at the academy in spring, don't you? Listen, Shikuchi. A Bulve has served the royal family for generations. The warrior spirit is in us. Never shame your name. Never tolerate injustice. Living true to your heart is the warrior's way, the Bulve way. Okay, so this is very generic, but we're supposed to be getting the sense of like good noble dad, and I understand, father. Delita's a good boy. He should serve you well. I've asked the dean to accept him into the academy. It shocked the dean a bit. So I think we've learned two really important things here. One, we are a half brother to our older siblings. So they're kind of truer inheritors of the line than we are, and kind of truer inheritors of nobility, though obviously Balbanes is a nobility, and we are, fully his son. Secondly, Delita is in the academy as a servant to us rather than as a noble himself. He will serve you well. Treat him well. Yes, father. So obviously Ramza's noble position is much higher than Delita's is, but there is some potential precarity to both. Take good care of Alma. Become a fine knight, Shikuchi. And Balbanes dies. But he did bring an end to the war. Good for him. And I think we'll stop this episode here. Sorry for the kind of slow start. This game, I really think the start is clunky, right? We have the story hopping too much from place to place. We have starting to get into the gameplay can be a real struggle. Um, and so here's what's going to happen. Between episodes, I'm going to boot some of these characters out of the party and strip their gear so we can sell it for cash. Then next episode, we're going to start and do the next story mission and the next story part. And then after we complete two more story battles, we will be at the pre-Dorter part, and then I will grind all the stuff we need. And then once we hit Dorter, there will be an episode titled Dorter. That's like the start of the game proper. We can just play from there. There won't be excessive grinding. But I do want to include most of the previous stuff in case you're following the story or whatever. But the game proper will start with Dorter.